Okay, so we're also going to quickly go over Proclaim before our training on Friday as well. So you'll see that this is the Sovereign Grace Chapel pre-service. It's the loop, and so you'll put this on roughly around 11, 11:50, 11:55, close to 11:55, and this will go through its loop, and it will show the different announcements, and it will automatically do it. So you see how it says here 14 seconds. That means that this is going to be displayed on the screen for 14 seconds before it goes to the next one. This one says 18 seconds, and the seconds are judged by how many words are on the screen. So it gives people more time to read it. Adult Sunday School has 17 seconds. Information has 10 because there's less words. Evangelism has the least amount of seconds, 9 seconds, because there isn't too many words on there. So that's how all that works. And this will all go through its cycles on its own once you start it. And this is from last week, so you hopefully all of you will be familiar with what we did last week. And then, so what we do before is during the practice time for the worship band, we put this screen on, and I don't put it in here. If I leave it in here, it'll constantly change. So I have to stick it down in this section over here under service, and I put it here. Usually it's here because this photo wouldn't be here, which actually I'll take it away. Sorry, Mark. Oh, I copied it. Delete. All right, and then delete. Okay. So usually that's how it would look. And the reason why that photo was there because Mark needed that up and right in the beginning, so I had it there to go. But usually this is how it will look. So I usually just stick on here for get here at 11:30. I put this up right away. I put it on the screen so everyone sees it, and that helps them to remember to be quiet while the worship team practices. Once 12 o'clock hits, then you can just click on welcome. You have to do that manually. It won't do it automatically. Just click on welcome, and then you can just sit there until it's time to start. You usually start a call to worship, which you have to click on that. Everything you have to click on as the sermon goes. Nothing will be automatic after this. This will all be automatic, and just let it run and focus on other things. But once you go to service, everything's on you, and you got to change it as the service progresses. So you sit here and call to worship. Usually that's somebody getting up there, praying, and then you go to the first song, which is Fairest Lord Jesus. And then you would go through. I can't do on air because if I do that, it's gonna take away that readout, which doesn't help. So we'll have to do it this way. So we'll go back here, and you're able to change the slides as you need to. But what I want to focus more on is being mindful of how the slides look. Now, for this one, this looks pretty good. But if I was to change the color to white and take the effect of drop shadow away, it's going to make that more difficult to see, and I'll show you. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to see because it's white against a bright background. So that's why you got to be mindful of the colors you choose. We Fall Down, that one is, instead of being black lettering, it's white lettering, which shows up better. And I usually pick between these two. These two seem to be the best that show up on the screen. So I've kind of been sticking to these. And you go through all the songs and you change the letters as you need to. and then you get to offerings and click as you need to. Now for this particular week, it was Revelation 12, 1 through 17. And let's say that Gary at the last minute throws something to you and says, hey, I want you to have Genesis 1, 1 through 10 up there, instead of Revelation. Well, it's a really easy fix. So you would click on Revelation, make sure you're in edit mode, and then you go to Revelation and you'll type in Genesis 1, verses 1 through 10. And then hit enter. And that's going to change it to ESV version. And let's say right before the service, he goes, actually, no, I want it to be in King James Version, the old version. You go, okay, great. So then you just click on that, and that'll automatically change it. And you'll see how it changed from ESV to King James Version 1900. So those are some really easy, quick ways to fix things that Gary might throw at you. To be mindful of. Oftentimes we stick with ESV or New King James Version. Sometimes Gary likes it in the 1900 version. That's just something to be mindful of. And then now Gary oftentimes will have his own slides. And that's when you need to be mindful of the slides he has. And he likes to use the clicker. And one of the things you need to be mindful of is when he uses the clicker is that sometimes he clicks ahead. And if you were there on Sunday, this past Sunday, you would have known that he accidentally clicked the clicker so many times that it went to Days of Elijah. You weren't ready for that yet. And so you got to go in the game and put him back where he needs to be, because sometimes he clicked the Days of Elijah and he's 4 or 5 slides into the song of Days of Elijah. And so he wants to be on slide 3, so you put him back on slide 3, and he doesn't always recognize that you're trying to help him, so you might put him on slide 3, and now he's clicking again. Now he's going back down to Days of Elijah. So sometimes you might have to say, hey Gary, stop clicking the clicker, things like that. So those are just some things to be mindful of, real easy things. I'm not going to go too much in detail about how to make this. That'll be for a future training. But even so, that's also really easy. And actually, I'm going to take a quick moment to show you how that's done. So what I do is I will duplicate recent. So the most recent one was last week, so I'll hit that. Now you notice how the title stayed the same up here, but the date changed to Sunday, April 2nd. So what I do is I always change the title to April 2nd, 2023, and I always put my initials MTP. So, and I do that so you know who made it. So if there's something kind of funky with the way this is set up, you know who to talk to get to figure this out. And why it is the way it is. For this, and let's say I've done this in the past where I've made the slides and I forgot to change the title, but the date changes. The date changed. So when you go to open recent, and you're seeing two titles the same, March 22nd, 26th, and March 26th. They're both the same, but both the same titles, but the content is completely different. And if you get confused, just look at the date where it says Sunday, April 2nd, and this one says Sunday, March 26th. And that will help you to kind of orient yourself to where it should be. So you click on Sunday, April 2nd, change the date to April 2nd, MTP. So you know that it's for April 2nd, and you know that I had made this. And then what I do is I will delete everything that doesn't need to be here. So prayer meeting, that's pretty much that's an ongoing announcement. So I leave it. Men's breakfast, this is still ongoing. And registration for Ocean City is still it hasn't changed. This is still ongoing. This is still ongoing, so you can leave it. This is ongoing, so you can leave it. Easter Sunday, still ongoing. That can remain the same. And evangelism, that can also remain the same. What you also want to do is you want to go to Planning Center. And make sure that there are no new announcements that need to be added to the rotation. And so you want to go to services. And then you'll want to go to April 2nd. And Good Friday service, that's already on there. Easter service is already on there, men's breakfast. So there's no new announcements that need to be added to proclaim. So you don't have to worry about that. And then what I do is I come down here and I'm going to delete stuff that does not belong on this new schedule. So we're going to get rid of Bears, Lord Jesus. We're going to get rid of Fall Down. We're going to get rid of Our God is Greater. We're going to get rid of Genesis. We're going to get rid of Thessalonians. Actually, with this one, I'm going to leave the same because his verses are just going to change. So I'll actually leave that as is. It's just going to be the same book, but verses later on. And then I'll delete those slides because I'm not going to stay the same. And I'll delete Days of Elijah. And then I go back up to call to worship, and I'm going to add item. And I'm going to import item, and I'm going to go to Planning Center. Click on that. And you're going to go to traditional service, special events. There's nothing there because you don't have any special events. Usually special events are going to be anything that's not on Sunday or is not at the usual time on Sunday. So if there's something going on Sunday at 6 p.m., then it will be here. If we're doing something on Tuesday, then it will be here. But traditional service will always be on a Sunday. And you're going to pick the date we're working on, which is April 2nd. That's going to pull up this, and this hasn't been fully finalized yet. As you can see, not all the closing songs are here. I mean, like song 1 it's not listed yet. So we won't be able to populate this just yet, which is fine. So we'll close that. And then so what we'll do on Friday is we'll go in more detail about how to do this. But let's go back to March 26th. And we'll look at it as if this was already filled. And what happens is when this autofills, it usually autofills in white. And there's no effects on it. And there's also no background. So it'll just show up like this. And actually, sorry, this will be in black. So this is how it will look. When you put a new slide in, this is how it will appear. Just white with the words. And what you want to do is you want to go to background and you want to go to browse media. And you want to be under group upload, which is pretty much all like this. And then you want to go here. And you're going to want to scroll down. I got to clean this up. It's going to take some time because we have photos in here that don't need to be in here anymore. But then you want to scroll down, and usually the ones we want are in this area. So we'll click on that one. Once you click on the one you want, then you go to apply as background. So you apply as background. Now you see how it's very hard to see the wording because the background is dark and then the lettering is dark. That's an easy fix. So you just click on this field here just once, and then you go up here and you change it to white. And now it's white. And it's still a little bit, could be a little more difficult to see, maybe not. But I always then do drop shadow, and that makes it just a little bit more distinct to see, and that is better. And then what we can do is we'll go back to the one we're working on. So April 2nd, open up, sorry, open recent, April 2nd. And what I'll do is I'll go back to here and we'll look at what needs to be in there. So for Gary, so we'll start off with call to worship. Well, actually song 1, which is going to be from the hymns. And actually this one's easy. This is gonna be a little bit different. So it's mine eyes have seen the glory. So the glory that comes from the Lord. So I'll highlight that and copy. And it's hymn 569. So then what I do is that comes right after call to worship. So I'm going to do add item. I'm going to do announcement. I'm going to put the title, which is, and then I'm going to put the hymn number, which is 569. Okay, now we go back to Planning Center, and we see that after we sing that song is call to worship. So that song should be first in the lineup. So we'll move that song here under attention, and then it goes call to worship. And then we go back to Planning Center and we see after call to worship is reading John 12, 1-7 by Randy. So what we do is we make sure we're on call to worship, what that yellow line is, and then we do add item and we do Bible. That's going to bring you here. Usually I put ESV unless Randy indicates differently. And it's John 12, 1-7. So we go to reference and we go John 12, 1-7. And then that'll autofill. And then I always do the background of this. And now that's all set. And then you go back and you see the next thing in line is the sermon title, Lead Us Not Into Temptation. Now, usually Gary will have slides, but because I'm not going to be here this particular Sunday, I don't think he'll be making slides to make it a little bit easier. But you still need to have a title heading for a sermon. So after John 12, 1-7, after that reading, it'll be the sermon title. So we make sure the yellow's on here, and we'll go add item, and we'll do announcement again. And then the sermon title is Lead Us Not Into Temptation. So we'll highlight that, and we'll copy it. And we'll come back here. And we'll stick it here. Paste. And then the preacher is Gary. I put that in location. So I'll put Gary George. And in description, I'll put the verse reference, which is 1 Thessalonians 3, 1-5. Copy that. Back to proclaim. Paste it in there, and you'll see it here. So then that's that. Then go back to Planning Center, and we'll see what's next. the next song is from the hymn, And Can It Be? Hymn number 203. So we'll go back here and we'll do the same thing. We'll do add item and we'll do announcement and we'll do and can it be hymn number 203. And then go back to planning center. And the next one is when I survey the wondrous cross. So we can copy that. And it's hymn number 185. Copy that. Back to proclaim. We're going to need to make a new one. So new announcement. Put that in there. And it was hymn number 185. Back to proclaim. And then the next thing is praises to the Lamb, breaking of bread, which is also the offering. So we do is we'll go back here. And I'm not gonna have this, I'm making this count now for Sunday as also part of the training. So make sure the yellow's on there and go add item. And I'm just gonna do content. It's gonna give us a blank screen, which is fine. And then I'm gonna go to background. I'm gonna do browse media. And I'm gonna do type in communion. Oh, it's not giving me what I need. Let's see again. Oh. Making up bread, maybe that'll be what I want. It does not. I can't type. So I want to find the usual slide I would use for breaking of bread. And I am having trouble. Oh, I was on the wrong thing. So all I want to go to all. So if you on that was a problem. So I was on own. So when I search, it's only going to search for the things that we own. The slide I want, we don't own. So I'm going to go to all. I'm going to go to communion. Still not showing up, huh? This ain't good. We'll have to come back to this. I'm really not sure why that's not showing up for me. Well, one of the other options you can do is I'll go to file and I'll open recent and I'll go to March 5th, which would have been the other time that we had breaking of bread. And I will go down and find breaking of bread here, and then I hit right click and then I copy. And then I'm going to go back to open recent, go back to April 2nd. And content black. I'm going to go on that. And then I'm going to right click again and I'm going to go paste. And that's going to put what I want. And then I'm going to delete this, so I don't need this anymore. So then we have breaking of bread. That's another way to do that, since I couldn't find what I was looking for. And then the next step is, after breaking of bread, is offerings. So, which is right in line. Prayer for sermon, that actually needs to go up here. Could come before the sermon. And then the next step after offerings. This is what I was talking about earlier. So this is going to go underneath his sermon title, and his verse reference for his sermon is 1 Thessalonians 3, 1-5. So that's a very easy fix. Just delete backspace and go chapter 3, 1 through 5, enter. And that'll change automatically for you. And then go back to planning center. Offerings, and then the last song is Joyful, Joyful from hymn number 1. So offerings, so click on that, and then go add item, announcement. And then the hymn is Joyful, Joyful, and the hymn number is number 1. And that is pretty much the slides and how they're going to look for Sunday. This is pretty much how it will look. And I'll come back to this again on Saturday just to double check, see if there's any changes, see if Gary did want to add some slides. He may or may not, and if he did, I'll add them in here. But this will kind of give you a hopefully a relatively good idea on just how to use this and what to expect. And then once you've made any changes, done what you got to do, then hit File, Save, and Sync. That's going to save it, and it's going to sync it online, so that if you're doing this from your home computer or wherever, it'll like I do often. I make this at home, and then I save and sync it, and then when I go to church, I load it up, and everything I did at home will show up at church. And I usually will save and sync it twice, just to be safe, because there was one time where I thought I had saved and synced it, and when I got to church, that wasn't the case. So I had to do some very quick thinking to get things going again. And then that is pretty much it. That's all you need to worry about. So hopefully that was very helpful. And then the last thing I do is when I'm done, I just hit exit, and that'll close it out. So again, I hope that was helpful. And can't seem to, oh, here it is. And we will discuss this more on Friday. All right, talk later.